Hey guys, welcome back to Loop with Jack. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of the different widgets inside the canvas editor of Loopy Pro, giving you an example of how to use each one, and then maybe you can take that information and really level up your Loopy Pro game. So this is the canvas. This is where you can add all the different widgets inside of Loopy Pro. Let's first take a look at the different types and how you might select a different widget. So if we head on down to the canvas editor, that's this little pencil icon down in the bottom left-hand corner. Along the bottom here, you can see all the different types of widgets. So if we just go left to right, you've got an audio clip, a MIDI clip, a audio one-shot, MIDI one-shot, a button, a dial, a rotary encoder, a volume slider, an XY pad. You've got a clip slicer, radio buttons, and a list of buttons all under this same icon here. You've then got the ability to add text to your canvas and the ability to add tutorials if you are sharing your templates with others to learn different features. You could create a tour using these different information icons. So inside this template here, I have added each of the different types of widget to try and give you an idea of how you might want to use it. Now this is only just one example of what each widget can do. There are hundreds of ways you can configure these in very clever ways, but I just wanted to give you just a little idea of what each one could do and maybe a few options for you and your templates. So first up, on the far left hand side, you have got an audio loop. Now this is the most typical widget that you are going to use. The entire program is about looping, therefore you are going to be recording into audio loops. You are going to be recording different instruments into audio loops. You could load in, say, a drum loop, etc., etc. So just to demonstrate, inside the mixer here, you can see the input 3 is my guitar. And that's just currently using the Primo app, which is completely free, so definitely worth checking out and downloading. I'll put a link down in the description for a video where I checked out Primo recently. And if you look down that channel, the destination is orange, which means anytime I record into this orange clip, it's going to record my guitar. 3, 4, eh. So that's an example of how you can record your guitar into an audio loop and then play it back. But what if I wanted to load a drum loop? Well, let's swipe up on that audio loop. You can see we've got a little square with a down arrow. If I press that, it goes into your document picker. So I'm going to click the document picker here. Now I've browsed through and found a drum loop that I've got loaded onto my iPad. I'm going to select it. It will go into this window here that shows you how long your drum loop is. You can adjust the length of the loop. So let's say I want 2 bars. I'm going to have it time stretch, which means that if I change the tempo of the project, then all loops are going to go with that change. And then we're just going to click import. Now, if I press play on the clock and arm that loop, we should have a drum loop. Now that's pretty raging hot. So just a quick tip here. If you hold the mixer icon, it will go to clip volumes immediately. So if I keep that pressed, I can just lower the volume of that clip and press play again. And then we've got a drum loop, which we can of course play over. Next up, we've got a MIDI loop. This is seconded from the left-hand side. Now, MIDI loops are very new. In fact, at the time of recording this, they are not out yet. They're going to be released with Loopy 2.0, which hopefully won't be too far away. And the cool thing about MIDI loops is there's just so many different uses for them. I'm going to do a very basic example of what I would use one for right now. And that is just simply to record a chord progression. Now, at the same time as looking at the MIDI loop, we might as well talk about this MIDI one-shot I've got over here. Now, inside this blue MIDI one-shot, let's swipe up on that for a second. If I go into the edit window, you can see that I've just drawn in a quick chord. This is a C major 7 chord. And when I press the one-shot, going to play that chord. I can hold it, or I can press it short. And the destination for my MIDI one-shot is the yellow MIDI loop on screen. So if I press play, we've got our drum loop going. Let's arm that MIDI loop and press. And you can see that MIDI one shot was sending that chord information to my MIDI loop clip, this yellow clip, and then looping it back. And I've got that yellow MIDI loop set to quantize to 16th notes. So if I'm a little bit loose when I'm recording, it's going to tighten it up for me when it's playing it back. Let's take a look at this one shot audio that we've got here. Now this is where you might load in a single audio one shot, such as a kick drum, a clap, or something like that. So let's go ahead and do that. Swipe up on the clip. Press this down arrow again. Again, we're going to go through the steps in the document picker. I found this one shot here called Funky Drummer, Funky Kick. I'm going to import that. And now you've got a one shot loaded into the green clip here. If we press play, you could overdub. Not a great example, but you get the idea of what you could do there. So that's your clips. We've got an audio loop, MIDI loop, a one shot using audio, and a one shot using MIDI. Let's now move on to more of the widgets that you might use to set up different functions within your canvas or your templates, such as opening and closing different plugins or virtual instruments. Let's start with this button in the top right-hand corner here. And maybe let's get this to open primo so that we can just take a look at what's going on. So to do that, we go into the canvas editor as normal, press in the pencil icon. I'm going to press the button, and on a press, so that's the function we're setting up here, let's scroll down to effect actions, and let's select open effect interface. Now the target is primo here. You can see I've got 3 loaded up. Primo is on my guitar. We've got a Pro Q4 and a Pro C2. That's just on my vocal to make it sound a little bit nicer. But let's click on primo. And now if I press that button, it will open primo. And it's set to toggle. So therefore, if I want to open the window, I press it once. If I want to close the window, I press it twice. Next up, we've got this rotary dial. Let's maybe set this up to send to a bus. Now we could set up a reverb on a bus and then control how much we want to send to that bus. So let's do that now. So to start with, we're going to go into the mixer, and on my guitar channel, on channel 3, I'm going to head down to where it says sends, and I'm going to click new bus. Now on this bus, in the effects pre-fader section, I'm going to put an instance of Evantide's Black Hole here. And I'm just going to use whatever the stock preset is for this example. Now, on my guitar, if I start to play, I'm going to dial up that send and listen to the difference. Now that's a really nice sounding reverb, but maybe we want to be able to control that from our canvas. So on my rotary dial here, let's set that up. Let's click the pencil icon yet again, click the dial, and then we're going to do a value change. And we're going to go down to bus actions, and on adjust parameter, the target is going to be bus A. It's the only bus we've got set up at the moment, and the parameter is gain. Now that should do exactly what we want. So with the dial down, let's dial up a little bit of that reverb on the send. And next over, we've got this rotary encoder, which is designed to be used with the rotary encoder. So the further you turn it, the more it will affect what you're doing. But just to give you an example, we could set that up to adjust a value within inside a plugin. In this case, I've done a value change. The target is the gravity parameter inside of Eventide's black hole. And then if I just open the black hole and show you, as I turn that rotary encoder, you can see that it's changing the gravity. Now you can set the sensitivity of this up to higher or lower depending on how much movement you want for that endless rotary encoder. But that's just an example of what it can do if you set it up with a MIDI controller. Next over, we've got this slider. I use these all the time for utility functions. So let's just show you how you can set it up to control the gain of your vocal mic channel. So maybe you want to lower it for certain sections and raise it for other sections, or you could have the gain of all your clips set up on this one so that you bring them down and you can hear the mic over the top. So many ways to use it, but let's just show you a basic example. Let's click the pencil icon, click the slider, value change, and let's go down to audio source, adjust parameter. The target is mic A, and we'll leave it set at gain. And nice and easy, as I lower this, you should hear that it starts to go quiet like we wanted. And next we've got a more creative option. This is an XY pad. Now what's really cool here is you can set a bunch of different parameters to be controlled depending on where you're pressing on the XY pad. Some people have got some amazing and creative uses for this, but let's just set up a couple of different functions to give you an idea. Let's head to the pencil icon, click on the XY pad. And again, let's keep using this black hole as a good example. Now on the X, let's go for size. And on the Y, let's go for feedback. So let's dial up the send to the reverb using our rotary dial here. And this is the stock sound of the black hole. Let's mess around with this XY pad and see what we've got. And you can obviously get really freaky and creative with different setups using an XY pad. Really quite cool. Now these next three sections are all using the different types of button groups. We've got clip slicers, button grids, and radio buttons. And I'll explain each one as we go. The first one that we've got here is just a button grid. Basically, just like the button above it, instead of a single button, it's 4 buttons. So maybe you've got similar actions and you want to group them all together. Using a button grid is a good idea. Now on this button grid, I've got 4 imaginary functions set up. Maybe I want to mute my guitar, mute a reverb, mute all clips, and then toggle a band pass. Let's try and set some of those up. So in the pencil icon, we can click on that button grid and you can see the 4 different buttons here. You can have many different configurations here, but let's just stick to 4 different buttons for now. And on the first one, on a press, we want to mute or unmute an audio source. The target is going to be my guitar. So now if I'm playing and I press mute, the guitar is muted. Simple. What's nice is the status of the button is indicated. So if I press it, it's highlighted saying it's muted. If I press it again or toggle it again, it's now no longer highlighted. Let's add in the mute verb. So this time on a press, we'll go down to the effect section and enable/disable an effect. And this time the black hole, which is the reverb, is going to be the target. But at the moment, my guitar does have the reverb active. If I press mute verb, you can still hear a little bit of reverb, but that's from Primo itself, not the black hole that we got set up here. Now let's say we want to mute all clips. We are going to go to clip actions and click on mute. Now on the target, you've got all these different options here. To keep it simple, I'm just going to click all clips. But you could click a certain color, a certain group. You could highlight a bunch of clips, a different scene. There's so many options here. But let's just have it to toggle on all clips. If we press play on our little loop and press mute all clips are muted. Bring it back in. And finally, the last button we want to set up is this toggle bandpass. Now that's just an effect I've chucked on the vocal chain just to keep it interesting. If we click on the pencil icon, click that button, on press, we want to go down to the effects section and just like before, enable or disable effect. And we want to choose the bandpass this time. So to see if that works, 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice and simple, it toggles that bandpass for us. Now, one of the other options in your button grids was this clip slicer. And what I have done is I've got that in this bottom left-hand corner here. And if we click on it, the clip at which it's going to be listening to is the audio loop, this orange clip here. Let me try and give you an example. Let's press play. And it's now cycling through. I can press any one of those. And you can obviously create some really cool glitch effects using the clip slicer. Now, the next button group over that we can use is a radio grid. Now, what's really cool about a radio grid is it means one item from the list is going to be selected only. So if it's set up to do presets, like in this case, I'm going to select preset 1, 2, 3, or 4 from inside of Primo. You don't ever want preset 1 and preset 2 on at the same time. So in a radio button grid, when you press 1, it will kind of cancel out the other ones. There's only ever one active. If we use the button we created earlier to open up Primo, just drag it to one side so I can see. If we press preset 1, we've got this preset called Funky Clean. Preset 2 is this dynamic overdrive. Preset 3 is a jazz clean. And preset 4 is hard rock rhythm. Now the next one over is a stepped dial. Now this is pretty much exactly the same as the radio button grid, but instead of pressing different buttons like we do here, you simply dial through the different selections. So I won't set that up to demonstrate, but you can set them up in exactly the same way. Anytime one of them is selected, it can do a different function. Now next up we've got this text widget. Although not as funky and creative as some of the other widgets, it's actually really useful. You can put a little bit of text or maybe an emoji over the top of a different button. So let me just show you how to do that. If you click on the text, we can type whatever text we want in here. But if we go to emojis, maybe you want it to look like a guitar. And there we go, we've got your guitar emoji. You could drag that on top of your clip or wherever you want inside your template. And finally, you've got these information or tutorial widgets, which allow you to write some text and explain what's going on inside your template. I know that I use these a lot on my channel, and over on my members site, you can download my templates with these tutorials, which explain different things and what's going on inside my templates. So let me just quickly show you what you could do. If you press that tutorial here, you could give it a title, I don't know, maybe Clip Launcher. And then you can type in whatever text you want. And what happens is when you press that information, it will tell you that beautiful sentence that I just wrote there. So that's a quick introduction to the different widgets that you can set up inside of Loopy Pro, inside the Canvas editor. I hope that was helpful. There are so many ways you can set this up, so many different configurations. Everybody's got different effects, different plugins, different audio instruments, etc., etc. But for those of you that are new to widgets or new to Loopy Pro, hopefully that gives you some ideas as to what you can do inside your templates. If you would like access to this template or any of the templates which I've displayed in my other videos, then check a link down in the description and head over to loopwithjack.com/members where you can sign up and download some cool stuff. But that's it from me today, guys. Please leave a like and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.